Hey guys, it's Ravi, and we are going to discuss this month's book, The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. So, if you have not read it, you probably should stop now, go back, read the first 5 chapters, and then come back to this video. Okay? Because I'm going to be asking some questions. I need you to comment in the chat about what you think about the book so far and answer the questions I'm going to ask. All right, so let's get started.
Lights, camera, let's ignite. Bring the energy, we shine so bright. Click that play, it's time to groove. This is the moment, we're in the mood. Snap, snap, working now, flip the vibe.
Okay, so welcome. If you are new here, I am Ravi, and this is my weekly book club. This month, we are covering The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. Right here, all right? It is a science fiction book, and it's an amazing read. I don't know what else to say. It is an amazing read. It's very partial to me because N.K. Jemisin is a Black female author, and having a Black female author break into the sci-fi world the way that she did when she came out with the series these many years ago is just absolutely mwah, chef's kiss. But the world that she creates is absolutely amazing. So how are we going to run this book club? This is the first week that we're doing this book club. This is the first video that we're doing in regards to actually discussing the book. So there's different approaches I wanted to take. And given that this is the first book and I don't know how many people have read it yet, I'm going to make this video pretty simple. I'm going to ask you guys some questions, and I want you to put your answers in the chat, all right? I'll also put these questions in the chat and in the description so you guys can see and read them again. However, if you want to have a full discussion, if you want to go in depth with the details with this conversation, I will host an open discussion in my Discord on Monday, the day after the Super Bowl, in order to have an in-depth discussion about this book. So that'll give you guys a chance to catch up on the reading and have these questions in mind when we have our discussion. So this is not going to be a long video, okay? So for me, why did I choose this book? I chose this book because I read it about 6 years ago-ish, and I fell in love with it. I was just getting into sci-fi. I really didn't know what genre of books I liked until I started reading Deborah Harkness, Brandon Sanderson, George R. Martin. You know, I wasn't sure what genre I liked. So I was reading a lot of romance and all that stuff. And while those books are fine, that's definitely not the genre of my choice. So I definitely like psychological thrillers. I love fantasy. I love sci-fi. And being able to blend those together is amazing. So you get a little bit of everything with this book. Okay? So here's the first question. This first question is for those of you guys who have not read the book yet. Okay? So if you haven't read the book yet, you can answer this first question right now. What are your perceptions about fantasy writing? All right? Because this is a sci-fi fantasy book. All right, so what are your perceptions about fantasy writing? I fell in love with fantasy writing. I did not realize the scope and the depth of fantasy writing. I just thought fantasy writing was about, fairies and leprechauns, and I don't know. I really didn't know what fantasy writing was until I started getting into the genre. And of course, yes, we have the dragons, we have the vampires, we have the shapeshifters. There's so many aspects to fantasy writing. You can pick the niche that fits you. All right? I love dragons. Give me a book with dragons and I'm all over it. This book doesn't have dragons. But give me a book with dragons, I'm all over it. Give me a book about the destruction of society, a dystopian society, I'm there. Give me a book with some type of mystical creatures that aren't quite human or may have been human at some time. I'm there. So that is why I picked this book, because I was enthralled with this concept of fantasy, and I fell in love with it. Okay? All right. So if you haven't read the book, stop there. Do not proceed any further because the rest of this will be some spoilers for moving on ahead. Okay? So, question number 2. The prologue begins with the line, "Let's start with the end of the world, why don't we?" What do you think caused this devastation? All right, I'm going to read that again. Question 2. The prologue begins with this line, "Let's start with the end of the world, why don't we?" What do you guys think caused the devastation that the author discusses in this prologue and throughout the book? What do you think caused it? Okay. I'm not going to give you my answer yet. We're going to save that for the Discord. All right. But think of all the different ways that you've read books on how the world has ended or where we've had to go back to the beginning, whether we're talking Hunger Games, whether we're talking whatever it is, right? Think about all the different ways that authors have created dystopian societies. All right? So just think about that and let me know, what do you think caused the devastation that's described in this book? Question 3. Now, before I get to question 3, one of the things that you will realize quickly as you read the chapters is that there are 3 main characters in this book. Okay? Two of the perspectives are read to us or given to us in third person. But one of the characters, Essun, her narrative is in the second person. Right? If you're not a grammar freak like me, second person means that it says you. Okay? So it's as though the author is talking directly to us. So you went down the stairs, you went across the street, this happened to you, instead of Essun walked down the stairs, Essun walked across the street. Or instead of the first person, I walked down the stairs, I walked down the street. Okay? So it's written in the second person. So with it being written in the second person, does it help you connect with Essun? Right? Does it help you connect with her? Or does it distract you? Does it confuse you? Okay. Question 4. What exactly is the 5th season? What do you think it is? Okay. What is the 5th season? Based on what you've read to this point, and your answer can change throughout the book. But based on what you've read so far, what exactly is the 5th season? How are you interpreting the 5th season? Number 5. How does the author, Jemisin, build the world that we're in? How does she build the world that the readers are in? Why do you think she chose to call the land the Stillness? Even though she says that the land isn't still, it's basically the opposite of still. Why do you think she calls it the Stillness? All right? Just some questions. And here's a bonus question. All right? For those of you guys who may have started reading the book but didn't get that far. In the prologue, did you find it useful? Or did you find it expository? Okay? Did it seem weird or odd or strange to read a narrative that was directly addressing you as the reader? So she's talking to us as the readers, as though we can respond to her. All right? Does it seem weird or odd to read something that's addressed directly to you in such a familiar way? Was it distracting? Or did it help pull you in. Okay? So those are the questions for this week. If you would like to discuss these questions in depth, Monday, Discord, 5 p.m. Eastern, we will discuss this live. If you are not a part of my Discord, make sure you go into the description, you click on the link that says the Key Player Discord. It's probably my link tree. Click on my link tree, and then click on the link that says the Key Player Discord. Once you get in there and you finished all the, hey, this is who you are, just say you're here to join the book club. Once you do that, we will assign you a role so that you can be part of the, so you can engage in the book club conversations. Okay? And that's it. Now, do you want to be highlighted in future episodes of our book club? Do you want to have your perspective offered during one of these videos that I make for YouTube? If so, same thing, go to my link tree, subscribe to my Patreon. Okay? Subscribe to my Patreon. Depending on your tier, Patreon members will have the opportunity to either be on video or have their thoughts expressed on a future episode. Okay, I think that's it, y'all. Don't forget to check all my shorts and all the different book recommendations I've made up to this point. Okay? 2, make sure if you don't have the book, you're going to my Amazon storefront and grabbing the book. And if you need the audiobook, click the link in the description. Get yourself an Audible subscription. All right, you get a free trial and download the Audible book. Until we meet next time, y'all.
Lights, camera, let's ignite. Bring the energy, we shine so bright.